Greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, and today I'm here to discuss the warfare and military system of EU5, which, again, as with all of the proper dev diaries, we have seen through Tinto Talks most of the information that they will explain here. However, there is always some new nuggets of information hidden amongst the recaps. And of course, not everyone pays attention during the Tinto Talks, and some people only actually pay attention to the dev diary segments of the lead up to release. So it's a good thing to make sure to cover these as well. I realistically should have done the religions one too, but I thought that one was a little too samey. We knew almost all of that already. But as for myself, the warfare side of the game is one that I understand the way it works, but even for me, doing some recap will be nice because hopefully this will consolidate lots of information that we've seen bits and bobs of and that have been adjusted over time, especially things they may not have mentioned that they changed. So, that without further ado, let's begin. If you've read earlier dev diaries, you'll understand now what drives us to make a living simulation where every choice has consequences. And warfare in EU5 follows the same philosophy. Armies are made of people, logistic matters, and the world will fight back against your dreams of conquest. So, second phase, we've seen that the Hundred Years' War, yes, it goes in quote unquote phases, which is to say, every time that a war is declared between England and France during this time period becomes a Hundred Years' War goal, I think. Or maybe not. All we know is that when they fight the war, Hundred Years' War, every time they fight it, yeah, it gets referred to as first, second, and third, whatever, or fourth, could go up to 10, perhaps even phases of the Hundred Years' War. Uh, though I imagine, based on the whole win the war, the 100 Years' War goal, it probably means that there's like a specific button you have to click when you're choosing to declare the war, where you go, yeah, I want to declare the 100 Years' War as my war goal. Meanwhile, you could technically, while playing England and fighting France, just be like, no, okay, listen, we're doing the 100 Years' War thing, but instead of starting the next phase, we're actually just going to do a trade war interim right now. I really don't want, French people accessing my markets. Yeah, yeah. Anyway. It's actually a very funny thing to me, by the way, that England in EU5, because in EU4 they've got no vassals at game start, but in EU5 they've got more vassals than France, as you can see with the number of participants. 23 attacker side versus 19 defender side. England is the vast majority of the power of the entirety of England's side. Meanwhile, France has got some allies that and vassals that are actually comparable in strength in some cases, which is wild. What is what is that second one there? Is it what is it like in the power rating here, where it's theoretically this wheel is showing the scale of power of the countries? Who the heck is the second strongest one? That's Wales, I guess? Yeah, that has to be Wales then, because they've actually got 2K levies. Hello, RCM. Hello, hello. Yes. The wise one is here, yes. The wise bald one is here to discuss war. Late medieval warfare. So, game start. Just discussing the difference between. This is probably going to go over the difference between the beginning of the game and as the game progresses, how it changes. Alt any percent speed run. Yes, yes. Well, in that case, I would have failed. I would have failed if we're doing a cult any percent speed run here. Realistically, if I was trying to do that, I'd need to accomplish it pretty quick. I assume some cults have been made pretty fast. Yes. Uh, but yeah. So at the start of the game, Yeah, you have to focus on levies, of course, with barely any professional troops. Yes, most states do not field professional armies. To fight in the multiple wars started by the many kings and dukes, each state will rely on levies raised from their population. Peasants, burghers, nobles, whoever your laws and institutions can call upon. A total of 8,250 levies will gather in area capitals, with the bulk in Paris. So that's interesting because this is something that I've been speculating about for a while now because we've never seen anyone confirm this one way or another. But this is something that I was hoping would be the case, and Dark on my team was really hoping it wouldn't be the case. But I think this will still be okay for him. Now, to explain what I mean, in CK2, they use this system as well, where you raise levies and it brings it raises them up all over your country. However, in CK2, it raises up your levies in every single tile. So that would mean every location would raise up its own levies in a CK2. That's what would happen. But here, it raises up levies from all over your country and consolidates them in the area capital. So that means that you won't be having just yeah, every single tile loaded up with tiny amounts of levies that you need to somehow consolidate, and makes the screen look like an absolute mess. Areas are pretty substantial regions. Uh, Tinto Maps France feedback. If we go to the Tinto Maps France feedback, we will see, for example, you go, yeah, locations, and every location, you'll see the locations grouped into, of course, provinces, with some really funny looking ones sometimes, like the line on North Brittany where it's just all the coast. And yeah, that because they cover that you can tell that lumps together to Tregor, and then you can see when you go, oh no, they're not showing the areas. God damn it. Tinto Maps World. Mind you, this is the older one, but the point is still the same. You look at the areas map mode, you'll see if you're playing England and you raise your levies, that means you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 areas, quote unquote, that you are split across. Your mic problems? Mic problems. It says it's recording me. Yeah, it says it's recording my microphone. Not sure what the microphone problem would be. Oh, okay. Just some connection issues probably. Oh, okay. I really scared me with that, Rye, because the last stream I started, of course, the entire first minute I wasn't talking because my microphone wasn't connected. Right. Oh wait, no, that wasn't Rye. That was Dude Line. I'm accused. Yeah, I could never accuse Dude Line of anything. So it's I just gotta pass it off on Rye Pie. But as I was saying, with England, you would be split up into 5 areas. So when you raise your levies as England, it's not a case of you playing like Crusader Kings 2, where you would raise your levies as England and the entirety of England just raises up with tons of little tiny stacks, but instead just the areas. So you've got 5 stacks, and they're all consolidated around those areas, and you need to bring them all together, which still will cause problems. That'll be annoying and mean that at the start of a war, you'll be slower to get started and your units will be disunited, especially if you have areas across sea tiles. Kind of Hoy-ish, but in Hoy you don't like raise levies suddenly. What do you mean? Is it in Hearts of Iron the whole game is standing armies? Little uncertain what you mean by that. Mind you, I'm far from an expert on Hearts of Iron, where they pop out. Oh, you mean Because the idea being they pop out of province capitals. So you're saying that that's like Hearts of Iron, where if you're recruiting units, they'll pop out in an area capital? So that makes sense. I can understand what you mean by that. Yeah, okay, okay. Hmm, 250 from Soissonnais. Oh, Périgord. Saying French words is just funny. It's a very silly language.
Are you shit talking to me?
I was shit talking the French language. I was saying it's silly. It's funny to say French words, you know. Soissonnais.
Tell my mom that you said that. She'll love to hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
She'll still love you, I'm sure.
Population raised into a levy will reduce the population by 1 each as their families follow them, for a total of 8,200. Okay, levies are raised. Any surviving levies will return the similar amount of population. Okay, that's important because one thing I was uncertain about, and seemingly, yeah, it seemed to be the case that every time a levy died, it would kill a pop. That's what people were talking about it as if it was the case, you know? They made it sound like you would just raise the levies, and then those levy troops were tied to a location, and if that levy died, then it would kill the pop. But in reality, it's a case of as soon as you raise the troops, it takes the men from the tile. Yeah. Trying to make an arc in stone and see how it looks. That's a tall order. That is a tall order. Arkenstone is supposed to be pretty fancy. Or at least shiny. Yeah, I suppose. Receive raw materials output minus 20% in food production, minus 20 in every location raising a levy. I wonder how it determines whether a location raises a levy or not. It just says every location raising a levy, so that means that sometimes you will have locations that don't raise them. Isn't it tied to manpower, which is tied to pops? Not quite, Rye. Levies are not related to manpower at all, actually, ironically enough. So the way it works, and I'm sure that it'll explain, like it'll explain this later, but levies are explicitly tied to pops. If a levy dies, then you never get the pop back that you levied. Manpower is specifically gained from a building. So you make buildings that produce manpower. They require pops to be employed in them, and then those buildings generate manpower for you over time. Then that manpower is used for your professional troops. Only professional troops. Levies do not use manpower. In fact, levies have no way to replenish over time. The only way that you can get more levies, if your levies become damaged, is to disband your levies and then raise them again. So the levies are more CK3-ish and the armies are EU4-ish. The levies are more CK2. The levies are the CK2 / Imperator Rome. Realistically, honestly, anyone who's played Imperator Rome already knows how the armies work in this game, because this game is just Imperator Rome's army system. Like where you raise levies and they raise them from all across your country, and then you've got the professional armies. However, the only difference is that in Imperator Rome you also used the manpower for your levies, so Anything new so far? Is it all stuff people probably know? Wish there was a way to automate levy rotation. So, okay. The one thing that's kind of new, for me at least, Lex, is the fact that this confirms the specific way that you raise and lower levies. Because before now, it was uncertain, because no one during any of their AARs were being explicit about like the details of what happens when you raise a levy, and here we see that because personally what I thought was that when you raised a levy, it just ties that levy to a pop, and then any casualties to that levy incur a casualty to that population. But instead, what actually happens is when you raise a levy, it immediately yoinks pops out of that tile, which is very interesting. So when you get you're getting these 2,300 levies from Pays de France. Those levies are, that is directly, you raise those levies, that is 2,300 pops taken from this province, and they are just raised now. If they die, then they're never coming back. That's the new thing that I've seen so far, as well as the specific information that there is a penalty of 20% to raw material and food production in addition to the tile losing the pops to begin with. So, and as for wishing, yeah, wishing there was a way to automate levy rotation where you automatically raise levies to replenish the levies you before disbanding them. Yeah, something. Yeah, I think it would be very beneficial for there to be some way for you to, like, send a levy back to your lands, and then press a button on that army if it's a levied stack or something, or even just go into your military tab. Like either go to your military tab or the army itself, and then you'd have a button called replenish levies or something, which would then look at all stacks of levies in your. It would look at all stacks of levies that are in your own territory, and then over time replenish them or something, or perhaps raise more levies and then automatically make them start moving towards to attach to that army. Something like those. One of those options would make sense to me, because I don't think the AI, at least, I think from what we've heard, the AI isn't, it's not there enough to comprehend the idea of, oh, I need to lower my levies so I can raise them again, kind of thing. And it does feel strange that you would lower your levies just to raise levies again so that you could fill that up to your maximum. Somewhat odd. Where half the time my commanders go rogue and run away with my army. Yes, exactly. That, like Imperator Rome, like Max. Now, fortunately, this game is not going to function like Imperator Rome when you're playing a tribe and your levies are all commanded by random tribal chiefs, and the chiefs all hate you because you insulted them during a hunt or some shit, and then they're going to just wander off and get stack wiped because there's no character loyalty in this game. Heard mercs were super nerfed in EU5, which is sad because that's what carries most small nations. We haven't seen it. I don't think I personally. No, I personally have not seen a single person who has played the game talked about mercs. They have never mentioned mercs at all in after action reports, and that is really weird to me. I don't know why, and it's somewhat concerning, like you're saying, because I think mercs are very cool, but right now, the only time we've ever heard people talk about mercenaries is in one Tinto talk where they explained how they work theoretically, and but only sort of, like where they come from is what we had explained to us. And there was the building based country Tinto talk, where they explained that building based countries will still be able to fight wars because they will have lots of money to throw at mercenaries, which, that sounds good in theory. It's like, okay, but how does that work in practice? How do the mercenaries actually work? This actually opens up the question of what happens when you have levies raised, but those lands they lose the lands they belong to while they're raised. Take out the enemy's land. If you have levies raised and then the war finishes and you still have those levies raised, and but you lost the war and your enemy took the land that the levies are from, that's what you're asking about? I imagine the levies still go back to where they live. They probably still go back to that tile, even though they're in the land of your enemies now. Vaguely recall someone mentioning mercs in an after action report, but I can't remember who it was and who they were playing. But it wasn't a big part of their strategy. Yeah, I don't. Cause yeah, that's the thing, Lex, is that most of the time it seems Players have it seems most of the time players have an easy enough time with EU5 where the people who have the game beforehand um don't even really talk about levies or mercs because they just um after a while into the game they just kind of start treating their levies like you would normally treat mercs, where it's a an army you recruit at an additional cost to supplement your main armies that you're actually just, your standing armies you're paying for. So that's the weird thing. Yeah. Um, and instead, the mercenaries get treated as like this tertiary army that no one ever actually uses because players don't actually have enough trouble that they need to recruit them. But I'm sure that we will all see we will see the mercenary death wars that we all know and love from EU4 in this game during player wars. Can't y'all aren't y'all excited for doing player wars in EU5 where you get to look at your population graph and be like, wow, look at my population at the start of the war, and now it's down here because me and my opponent both raised our entire population to fight in the war. They all died. In EU4, it wasn't super unbalanced since it scaled with the nation's size and you'd be in heavy debt, which is more punishing in EU5. Yeah, yeah, and it seems that mercs in this game scale based on pops and how disgruntled the pops are. So theoretically, mercs actually become more available as a war rages on, which is the funny thing, because as the war rages on, more lands become um, devastated, and there's pops having trouble getting enough food and other such things. So then more pops will join merc companies. If I make a mod for EU5, might replace the merc system with some building-based countries that create armies that you can buy via condottieri interactions, in which they're playable by default. Yeah, I got my hopes up when they were talking about building-based countries because of CK3, where I was thinking that in yeah I was assuming that you would be basically recruiting adventuring companies, like the way that works in CK3, where you can hire adventuring bands as a as a mercenary, so then they join your war. Um, but that is not the case. That's another case of me looking at Imperator Rome and being like, oh look, there's armies just on the map. You see, because you see the merc stacks just sitting there, and then you hire them. But no, that's not the way it works. Never played MP, so you have no opinions, Rai I can't blame you. EU4 MP is quite the experience. I'll say it like that. It's both immensely fun and immensely stressful and very grindy at the times. Yeah. Vaguely want to make some mod, but have priorities, and my PDX modding experience was some random BS and turning the Byzantines into the HRE. uh, the turning the Byzantines into the HRE. If only the Byzantines started big enough to do something like that in this game. But yeah, they're just a little guy. Yeah. Red Hawk talked about how he and just I wish you luck if you do try. I do wish you luck if you try making something for U5 as well. Yes. Uh, they're strong because they're professionals, but also really expensive. Okay, thank you, Max. Thank you, Max. So that means that yes, Mags ever the Mags is ever the efficient informant. Yes, yes. So that means that they're treated like professional troops. So they like power wise, they're professional troops. So they're strong, but they're also very expensive. Hmm. And that also means so yeah. And you're saying that because yeah, Lath and Red talked about it while playing in the HRE. Because I imagine that if you're playing in the HRE, you'd really want to make use of them because you need that Even just hiring, yes, if you scrounge up enough cash to hire a single mercenary company, that would tip the scale in many wars, especially if they're professional troops. If they're professional troops at the beginning of the game, that means mercs will be incredible because that means it's, you spend some money, then just get temporary access to professional quality troops. And in a place like the HRE, where everyone's going to be running out around with these tiny armies, that will be very, very helpful indeed. Biz into the HRE is pretty cursed. Yes, but it's just funny to me to imagine because you get the Holy Roman Empire interface, but instead of the Holy Roman Empire, it's just called the Roman Empire interface. Substance Painter has a learning curve. Oh no. Oh no. I'm sure it does. Oh dear. Still with the Arkenstone, I imagine you're referring to. Yeah. So Turkish was in the Byzantine group to piss everyone off. Oh no, you're a troll. Oh no. Oh, but you said you put the Turks in the Byzantine group just to annoy people, but you never released it. Yeah, so now no one ever knows. You can't prove it. Oh, two of cursed images. Oh no. Need to. So make an EU5 month. But okay, but in EU5, the Turks and Greeks haven't been together very long, so it wouldn't even make sense. You can't even argue putting them in the same group. That just makes it even worse. Uh, oh, this is a beautiful image, though. I noticed that there were some images that like changed based on the how professional your armies were. So this is very interesting for me to see. That yeah, I'd seen like some professional looking soldiers, but this is the first time I've seen one where it's like, oh yeah, these are just levies, peasant levies. You got some guy with like presumably an axe in the middle of the pitchforks and hoes and stuff. Calling levies can be done through the military tab, but those people raised in the army are real members of your population, and they will leave their jobs to go fight in your wars, which means also that when they die on the battlefield or from other causes, the pop is gone forever. And of course, if you disband the remains of your army, survivors will return to their home and resume civilian life. The quality of the levy will vary depending on the pop type. A peasant levy will probably form the backbone of your army, but will end up as an undisciplined frontliner with a spear, while noble levies will provide heavily armored knights. Different pops produce levies with distinct equipment, discipline, and roles on the battlefield. Yeah, and I do like that quite a bit. It's very interesting how distinct they are. The feudal levies are the peasant of the start of the game levy. And then footman levies are burghers, I suppose. That's all very interesting. Yeah. You made the Reformation spawn in the Orthodox Church. You really did just try and make it as cursed as possible. Used a preset texture and changed it for the stone. Yeah. So you took a what does that mean? You took a just a model, like a no, a texture as in a Arkenstone texture that already existed, and then you applied it to a stone shape. That makes sense, yeah. As opposed to making your own one. Yeah. Extremely unfinished, so it'd be lots of work. Well, yeah, I mean, making a new. I mean, when it comes to EU5, you'd have to start from scratch. So, making any such mod. Oh, mailed knights. I just completely glanced over the mailed knights. There's actually a decent chunk of mailed knights. Levies come in different types depending on which social class they're from. Peasants make standard levies, burghers and clergy make footmen, and nobles make knights. But be careful, levies will not replenish during your campaigns. To refill the losses, you have to disband the army and raise a new one, making every battle a crucial decision. Of course, you've got a more serious idea, yes, yes. Keeping stuff a secret. Don't think anyone can on purpose compete with the unintended cursed nature of the Sunset Invasion triggering in the CK2 total conversion mods. Yeah, I do remember that. But didn't like I think CK2 AGOT, for example, repurposed it. Like they made like the Empire of the Dawn or something invade from the west. I forget. I think CK2 re-envisioned it. And then yeah, I think lots of mods re-envisioned it in general, but like after the end, eventually changed it to be, the Brits invading. Transition to a standing army. As technology and institutions develop, you'll unlock more means to field a standing army, as well as many new military buildings that employ a particular class of pop, soldiers. Soldiers are employed in buildings that generate manpower for standing armies, such as the armory, as well as used for castle garrisons and other military-based buildings. Now, another thing that I've been curious about with soldiers is what do the soldier pops do? Like, because they're classified as peasants, right? I think they're in the commoner tier, so that means you still tax them and such like a normal commoner, I guess. I don't know.
I don't think they'd always be classified as peasants because there are some times, remember, where soldiers would have their own caste or their own classification, and they would have a lot more power than just regular peasants.
Yes, hello, Namcraft, by the way. Yes. But
Yeah, like,
the soldiers were shown as being and like they're because previously it was just peasants that would be employed in like armories and stuff, but they added um they added like multiple different types of pop to the commoner, to just the commoner estate, if that makes sense. Like the commoner estate exists, and then under the commoner estate you have peasants, uh, laborers, and soldiers. I think. Uh, yeah.
huh. That's kind of weird. I don't know if I agree with that decision. I feel like soldiers should be their own estate
As in,
in some cases.
their own estate, so you should hand out your own hand out privileges just to the army.
I do think that should be a thing because in many countries that was the case.
In that case, you're referring to like over time the Janissaries and Mamluks and such.
Yeah, or for example, what is it? In the South India, what's the starting tag in South India? The Janagar.
Yeah.
What they did was they had a system that where the generals of the army would always keep getting landed. Like the way they gave out titles was based on like who was in charge of the army in exchange for loyalty.
Huh. In that case, though, that sounds like it would be a privilege you'd give to the nobles.
I guess. I don't know. I guess they would also classify as a. I just don't think army pop should be limited to being peasants. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair, because you get like Victoria, for example, where you get army pops, and there's a distinction between officers and servicemen. For just
Yeah, Victoria's actually a good example of what I was thinking of, where the army is its own interest group.
Because here they don't, yeah, because here you have like the armory built, for example, and yeah, it employs soldier pops, but it doesn't employ any nobles, which is the equivalent of that, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know what I'd say would be the best thing to do about it, because you wouldn't want just like armories, for example, to always just employ more nobles, because what about people who, I don't know, just don't really have nobles? So it's like, wouldn't it would be really weird for people who don't use nobles in their army, really. It's like, well, sorry, you're stuck with nobles in your armory building.
Yeah, too bad, I guess.
Probably
But I get what
transition
you're
to
saying.
standing armies as soon as I can. They just seem better. They, for all intents and purposes, yes, they are just better. They are stronger by a margin, of course.
Every playthrough we've seen of someone in EU5 has shown standard armies are just better, and you immediately want to
Yeah.
get them. I think the one problem I've noticed is that players seem to get standard armies a lot faster than AI do.
Peter, you know.
No. I'm not. I'm not. What do you want help
She's
with?
taking a break. Okay.
I'm not taking a break. I'm
No,
seeing
I need a character from Avatar as a guy. Not Aang, not Sokka, not Zuko. What other male characters are there from Avatar?
What?
Just decide one. Just
No. You're gonna take me out of my train of thought right now.
Oh, God.
I can't do that.
No.
I was incredibly confused for a second because I thought you were asking about or thinking about something I said, and then I realized you weren't. Okay.
Charlie's trying to get me to name one of her cows or some shit in Stardew Valley. It's a cow, isn't it?
No. It's
Mm.
ducks.
A duck. Yeah. The cursed HRE Byzantine mod files are lost to time. I think it's too late, Nemcraft, and also she was saying she wanted to name the duck a guy's name, so my wouldn't work because it's a male duck. So yeah. Nemcraft says Zhao.
Well, it's too late.
All right, it's your loss.
Now let's name Iroh. Fuck you.
Iroh's a good name for the duck.
They're all female ducks. That's a joke.
Oh,
I
What
don't
about
know
Joffrey?
any men
Question
on
for
my
you.
farm.
yes, Nem.
But what I was asking about earlier was, I'm pretty sure most videos I've seen, if not all, have shown that players can get private or standing armies much faster than AI can, which would make early game expansion relatively easier, right? Or am I mistaken?
Yes, but that has changed somewhat.
Okay, yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you because I'm not as updated as you are.
It has changed a little bit because over time, players have they've made it so that the AI does in fact build standing armies more than the player. Also, they made levies stronger for longer, so levies are still like they're able to throw their weight around in the throughout the Age of Renaissance, for example, and they start to fall off in the Age of Exploration, but it isn't until the Age of Reformation where levies are just not really that useful, supposedly. That's the way that I've heard some people describe it. Doesn't mean that that's completely accurate, but supposedly that's how that works. Okay. It's tough to say what folks on the Triple J server would say in regards to you asking about whether or not you should make a Byzantines HRE mod. Some people would say yes to that just because it sounds incredibly cursed and they would think it's hilarious, and other people would say no. I don't think there'd be an in between. Anyone who responds to it would either be incredibly against it or think that it's a very funny idea. Um, hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, army. What is that first tier of building then? What is that first one? Don't know what that is. What's this building? What? What? So this is different from the armory? It's a different manpower producing building? What? It's a tier 3 and then... Okay. Armories are the first building that can be built nationwide that recruits manpower. This building gets unlocked in the Age of Renaissance under professional armies. Armories can only be built in urban locations, yeah. Training fields, the first building that you can recruit manpower out of rural locations. Oh, so once you get to the Age of Discovery, you can start getting rural location manpower too, and it is +10. Okay, and it's a pike and shot thing. Okay, that makes sense. It will definitely be very useful, though. The training fields don't get upgraded until late, yeah, because you only get them in the Age of Discovery, and then they only upgrade in the Age of Absolutism and Revolutions, so it skips the Reformation. Every standing regiment has to be maintained financially, but can Nemcraft, that's right. One thing, and this is reminding me, so that the buildings supposedly buildings that generate manpower cost maintenance as well. So you both have to pay for the units, the professional army units themselves, and the building that creates the manpower. So initially it was the case that you could just spam out a absolute load of these armory buildings because as a player you just you would be like, all right, hello, my name is Joffrey. I'm a player. I know that if I build urban locations, I will get lots of manpower. So you would just make a ton of towns and then throw in. You would just make a bunch of towns and throw in the armories into them. And as a result, you would just have a ton of manpower. And then as a result, you could also recruit a ton of professional troops because professional troops, as they're saying here, they all cost upkeep over time of manpower. So early arquebusier, they require 8 monthly manpower. And the armory building gives you 10, so it gives you enough to maintain another unit and just a little bit of spare. So the reason that it's but the reason that okay, that was the reason that as a player you could just make a huge leap over the AI and become very strong because you could afford the cost. But now you can't really. So as you're saying, you hope the AI doesn't bankrupt itself. Apparently now what has changed with the fact that the actual building that produces the manpower has an expensive upkeep as well, is that players will only so often actually they'll only so often actually be able to afford having more. And the AI, as a result, will keep up better with the player. Not as well, but the AI can't handle the economy well. Of course not. Of course, the AI can't handle the economy well. uh, yeah, can't handle economies well in any game, really. Um, I play Victoria 3 and Benar. I'll play. You play. Even with me as my mediocre skill in Victoria 3, I'll be chilling as a country with half the GDP of someone near me, and then I'll look over a decade later and suddenly I'll be lapping them. It's like, what the heck? Does the AI not do anything? Um, Now, but again, the AI is getting better at it supposedly. But the biggest thing that holds the AI back is Parliament. That is the biggest thing that holds it back in relation to the player because the player is able to use the Parliament to declare lots of wars easily. Shrome AI is but that's for EU4. There's no theoretically something like that would come out for EU5 eventually, but yeah, we'll have to see what the game is like more on release, for obvious reasons. You can only get so much understanding from what folks are saying for their after action reports. Early arquebusiers are an Age of Discovery gunpowder unit unlocked in the Pike and Shot institution. They have higher initiative than other units, but take more morale and strength damage. And the Falconet. Falconets are an Age of Discovery gunpowder unit unlocked in the Pike and Shot institution. They have a higher combat power than early arquebusier, but only do damage in the bombard phase of battles. What? Only in the bombard phase? So they attack at the beginning, but don't do anything as the battle continues? Cannons only fight at the start of a battle in this? Because what I heard was that they do damage in the bombard phase and then they move into being engaged. But I don't know. Weird. Yeah, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say that the AI has achieved intellect. Yes, I'm not confident in that. Armies are structured into left flank, center flank, right flank, and reserve. This will crucially impact where your troops will meet the enemy on the battlefield, playing a pivotal role in how the battle plays out. The speed at which each regiment enters the fight is determined by their initiative. Cavalry and light infantry will usually be quicker and get into the fray faster than heavy infantry. And this difference can make a battle. As if one of the flanks collapses, the center becomes vulnerable to a flanking strike, devastating for morale. Yeah. Yes, we can see. Well, I mean, this isn't a very fair fight to begin with, but the right side for the Swedes is completely collapsed. You can be as precise as you want and set up your troops on the flanks or the center depending on your plan, or you can set up an even distribution of your troops across the battlefield. What's the first EU5 campaign I'm gonna do? There was a lot of jokes during the Tinto maps, basically. During the for most of the time of the these podcasts, during the Tinto maps as they were showing more of the map, the joke was, oh yeah, I'm gonna play. It's like every time like we're talking about a new country and it looks mildly interesting, I would just say, oh yeah, I'll play that country first game for sure. But yeah, and then the worst of them all was constantly telling people I was gonna play the Blackfoot, and then the Blackfoot, because the Blackfoot are the native, it's the name for the confederacy of the native tribes of my province in Canada, but for some reason, despite like all the rest of southern Canada and almost the entirety of the U.S. being represented with societies of pops, the Blackfoot aren't. For some reason, they gave all three Blackfoot tribes a culture on the map. They gave them, the Picayune, the Picayune, Kainai, and I always forget the other one. But they gave all three of their cultures representation on the map, but they don't actually have a tag associated with them. It's very sad. Home is unplayable. Is there just a society of pops? My grandparents are even worse than that. My grandparents live in a place that in EU5 is impassable terrain. So, but who I'll be likely to play. One of the ones that I'm thinking quite heavily about is Morocco. I keep bringing that one up a lot. That's a pretty heavy candidate for me. Yes, I am from Alberta. Yes. I do talk about it a decent amount. I in fact live in the cold arid environment, yes. Uh, Okay, so go to EU5, and then there's the world number 2. Who would I play? Who would I play looking at this map? I mean, the Mali and Morocco were big candidates for countries I'd want to try out immediately. There is also part of me wants to try learning the game more from playing a tribal country in the New World, but that's going to be so haggard. It doesn't sound like it would be very fun. So something that's more likely, I figure, is like Aragon, because Aragon is much weaker in this start than it is in others. So playing Aragon and then making like the goal for myself of conquering, southern Italy and then North Africa, that sounds like it could be fun. But also, again, Morocco is another person I could do that sort of thing as, and when it's just the idea of colonizing the New World as North Africans is just hilarious to me. So that's something that's very appealing to me. But also, there's like some of the Celts could be fun, and my ancestry is from Kiev. My family descends from Ukraine and North Germany. Those are the two places my families are from. So there's of course the urge to play as Kiev and take down the Golden Horde and let the Kievan Rus rise, or play some crappy city-state in northern Germany and build up from there in the HRE. Rye Pie. The only other Canadian that is in this community is Dude Line, and yeah, he's from Quebec. But yeah. Wait, North Germany, crappy. Yeah. Oh, you're from Canada as well. Oh, well, that's neat. No, yeah, don't meet all that many Canadians doing this. It's a pleasure. Oh, well, all the Canadians coming out of the woodwork suddenly. This is brilliant. We've got a Quebecer in Dude Line then. Oh, and yes, Celtica is a country. It's a tag I'd be interested in making an end goal. Sorry for saying crappy North German city mags. Yes. Uh, something like Bremen would be neat. Hamburg, of course, because funny. But Lubeck, of course, is the trade capital, but you need to get rid of the Hanseatic League. So you're part of a normal Canada. Yes. Well, it's uh uh Canada. Alberta and Quebec have just intergenerational beef for no reason. We just have to make fun of each other, so, Everything south of the Elbe is South Germany, if you ask me. Max, I didn't know it was like that. Okay. Hamburg doesn't count, I guess. Hamburg's on the south side of it, I think. I don't know. But Lubeck then, yeah. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I could make a poll, but at the same time, I don't really feel. I don't feel the vibe so much of all those content creators who are like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna make a poll and be like, oh yeah, when EU5 comes out, this is what I'm gonna play." Because like, what? Well, the people who have early access to the game, it makes sense for, because what do they want to show off when the game comes out? But here, I wouldn't have gotten to play the game. They ain't giving poor old Joffy access to the game before it comes out, so I got to play something that I like that really speaks to me. So in that case, someone that really comes to mind is also Lithuania, despite the fact that they're next to Kiev. And it's like, well, you got to play Kiev. But it's just the fact that Lithuania is that last pagan tag in Europe that's very appealing as far as countries go. But when they're right next to Kiev, and this is before Lithuania has taken them over. It's like, I gotta rise as Kiev. Play whoever you want. Lithuania. Well, yeah, okay. Well, in that case, RaiPi, yeah, we gotta play. Yeah, we gotta play multiplayer day one, and you can play Lithuania, and I'll take you down as Kiev. Easy. GG. It'll be so easy. Um, Bank, Holy Order, Daimyo. Okay, well, here's the bad news then, Lex. Here's the bad news because okay, it's not terrible news. It's just not good. Because yeah, banks will be playable on release, but they've taken out they've taken out the landless holy orders. The landless holy orders don't exist at game start anymore, and they'll be adding them back in the free patch that comes with the first DLC across the pillars, I think is what it's called. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I was so looking forward to playing as them. As like pathetic as they sound, is like I really wanted to play as them and try and make something work, you know? So honestly, one of my first like tags that I'm interested in playing as a result, because they've taken them out, is also the Knights. I say the Knights. It's the Hospitaller Knights of Saint John. Because I mean they're the goat as far as holy orders go. The Knights of Saint John are the goat because they're still around to this day and they do hospital shit. It's neat. It's where everyone gets their first aid training. It's so cool. Gotta play as the Knights Hospitaller and win the Balkan / Anatolia Thunderdome. Sounds like a lot of fun to me. Also, holy orders are just gonna have really strong professional troops, so that just sounds neat. Uh, Though a big part of whether or not I'd want to play them at game start is honestly whether or not holy orders are still going to be able to build their commanderies, because the landless holy orders had their commanderies, but they didn't like that gameplay loop, so they got rid of them for the moment. So one big thing that would determine whether or not I'd want to play the knights on release would be whether or not they still have access to those. Because if I'm playing the knights, I'd really be relying on setting up commanderies all across Catholic Europe, because it's probably bank, pirate, daimyo. Yeah. How are you gonna play a bank? Are you gonna play a pirate then? I mean, what pirates are gonna exist at game to start that you play? I can't think of any. Can you? The I would be super interested in doing something like Wales, but as we've seen with Lambert's after action reports, Wales is prohibitively difficult. So I don't know. I think that Wales is something I'd really want to do, but it will take time. And with how united Ireland is under England, Ireland is so screwed. Like half of Ireland is underneath England's yoke. That's ridiculous. Like I don't know how you're gonna play an independent Ireland in this game. Yeah, they did buff. They did in fact buff Wales, so that is interesting. And Scotland, of course. The really funny thing with Scotland is that you could theoretically play Scotland as a Balliol, and if you win as Balliol, you get access to longbows. So that's neat. I think some North African tags can create them at game start. Yeah, oh, that's right, because they are pirates. Yeah. Well, at least they can raid. Don't know if they can. Don't know if they can actually create pirate tags though. But yeah, one thing that's going to be really good about the North African tags is like if you play as Morocco. First of all, Morocco would be the best one. Just first of all because Morocco gets content to unite the others early game, and also yeah because all three of them get the ability to raid, so you can just kidnap pops and bring them back to your lands for extra, because extra pops is great. And because you're Muslim religious group instead of the Christian one, you're actually able to use slaves, so you can move pops around where you want them to build cities and stuff very precisely, which sounds very nice. Um, Pretty sure they said they can create pirates near the start. Okay, well, maybe that's true. Maybe I know they can privateer, but I don't know if they can create pirate tags. Granada will be very EU4-like in position, but they'd be an interesting challenge. I suppose. I mean, you don't even have Gibraltar in this one. In this one, Morocco owns Gibraltar. Ew. I don't know. But hey, I'm the one who's talking about I'm the one who's genuinely looking at like Cahokia and being like, damn, Cahokia be looking kind of interesting. Even though Cahokia has like literally no resources other than lumber and wild game. So, wish pirate tags weren't given locations, wish they were just fleets and buildings. Me too, me too. I was hoping when I was hearing that they were making pirate tags, navy-based countries, I was hoping that the way it was going to work is that the tag would be tied to like the buildings, so you would get like a pirate cove building, for example, that would be in someone's land, and then having that pirate cove building would allow you to dock in their territory. So unless that person does something to get rid of the pirate cove building, you would just be able to dock in their territory and sail around and raid and shit. That sounds like what I would have assumed it to be. But, a bit disappointed when you learned you had to give a location for pirates. Probably still conquered Tlemcen in Africa and then Spain. Are you really going to be conquering Tlemcen as Granada? Really? Also, Morocco starts in a war to take over Tlemcen at game start, so I don't even think that's going to be possible. No, it's going to be haggard as fuck. I don't think it's going to work out so well. But yeah, part of me really, you're better. You're just better. Okay, puff out your chest, big guy. Let's go. Let's see how tough you are. I'll see you on the 4th of next month. Be there or be square. Let's see how better you are then, tough guy. See? Well, I've got to show off in front of my girlfriend. I'm so tough. Look at me. Woo. Yeah. She's trying not to look at me. She's very disappointed. She is trying. Anyway, I don't know who I'm going to play when the game comes out. There's lots of potential people I could play. I got to figure it out eventually, though. Embrace the cringe. Yes, of course. If you don't embrace the cringe, then the cringe can hurt you. And also, I embrace the cringe every day when I hug my girlfriend. She can't even be mad at that one. She can't even be mad. Alright, what else do we have here in the actual dev diary? Mid-game army composition of an army of 38 regiments. Every regiment is assigned to a front with reserves and logistical support sitting in the back. Logistical support. So they do actually have the support units. Yeah, supply convoys. That's the weird thing, because I heard people talking like they just never recruit the supply convoys, which is very curious to me. You hope you can still play Karabakh. So Armenia is going to be like stronger in this, realistically, because in this game, like the Jalarids exist, which is the big blob, big blob step horde that you got. You've got you've got the Qs in a U4. But here you've got Cilicia. You've got Armenian Cilicia, so you can still play an Armenian tag. And in this game, the Armenians are going to have a better time because Cilicia is actually like a competent power. Which it's not in Armenia proper, but it's like actually got a good chunk of Armenians, and it's on the doorstep of the Anatolian Thunderdome. So yeah, exactly. You play Cilicia and join the Thunderdome, take out the other Anatolian powers, and unite the region. That's one of the things I really like about Anatolia. And honestly, I have a bad feeling that I'm gonna that when it comes to designing my mod's map that I'm making too many places on the map Thunderdomes where it's like, oh my goodness, look at all these different cultures and faiths and government types. Look at all these different unique people that are all small powers and have a good chance of uniting the region. Whoa, golly gee, I can't wait to unite this region as this person. I have a feeling I'm doing that too much because a lot of people like that, but I also am scared that it'll diminish from the mod if there's not enough just like big powers. I don't know. Like places with internal struggle. Because okay, the thing is, yeah, it's really fun to have a region and be like, oh, look at this region. It's such a it's a Thunderdome. Anyone has a chance to come out on top. But the problem with that also that happens is that if you do too much of that, then if you do too much of that and don't provide a way for the AI in other places to unite consistently, then that will leave players getting way too strong too easily. So if you play in one Thunderdome and the AI in a different area that's a Thunderdome doesn't unite quickly, then the game's not going to be tough. Because like in this game, you've got the Mamluks. In EU5, the biggest example of existential threat is the Mamluks. Delhi is too much of a paper tiger, and Yuan always falls apart. Same with the Golden Horde. But you've got the Mamluks, you've got France, and Bohemia is nuts apparently because they're basically always in charge of the HRE. So you've got a lot of people that are very strong existential threats to you if you play a small country here. But I'm scared that when it comes to me making my own mod, I'm not doing enough of that. So there's not going to be enough situations where a player will be like, damn, I really got to build up so I can fight this person. Yeah. Large empires with infighting so you can play as the ruler and slowly consolidate, or play as a vassal or clan to get more land and take over the empire. Yeah, so shogunate style things, yeah. That's fair. I have considered that sort of thing as well. That is as we've gone along in developing the plans for the mod, there's been more and more of that sort of thing where there's like an international organization where you have insert international organization here. The people inside it hate each other. And as a result, they'll fight you if you attack them, but they're also fighting each other. So it's really hard for you to go and attack them, but you have time to get stronger while they're still consolidating as well, kind of thing. That is neat, yeah. It's something to think about. Yeah, the very strong in defense but completely useless in offense. Yeah, that's the sort of idea where if the international organization gets attacked, just an absolute ton of them will join the war against to defend the international organization. But anytime that the leader wants to go on the offensive outside of it, then they can't really do it. They won't get like any support. That's something I've been considering. There's some specific plans I have for different international organizations to make that happen. So, yeah, that's the sort of thing I'm cooking on. But, yeah, I just don't know who I'm gonna play. I really, I should move on from this topic of who I should play when EU5 comes out. But someone like Norway is really high on my list too. By the way, Scandinavia is something I really like the idea of because it forced me to learn to play with haggard resources. And also get to colonize. But also, like, there's some part of me that thinks I gotta play like Scotland and get allies and defeat France, but also playing as Scotland and uniting the British Isles just to form Great Britain with a slightly different flag makes me sad. I wish that the formable as Scotland would look different. Greenland? Nah. Greenland, no. Scotland, Great Britain with Nova Scotia. Yes! Big Nova Scotia. my face when you started Scotland and just rush to be an Exodus tag. You just try and form Nova Scotia as quickly as possible.
I have a boyfriend.
No!
I placed you.
I don't like Harvey.
Well, I do. So
She's replaced me. She's replaced me.
It's not cringe like you.
I've been replaced.
Cringy for me.
I've got to derail for a second just to glance at Scotland's resources. Come on, Scotland. Yeah, Scotland's got good. They got good province density and stuff. Yeah. You just gotta defeat Balliol is all. You gotta, and then you convert everything to Highlander culture, and then form. Oh, but Norse Gale exists. Oh, oh, I forgot. Yeah, if you play as the Isles, you could be Norse Gale, which is hilarious. There's gotta be a way that you can unite the Isles as Norse Gale. Unite the British Isles as Norse Gale. It's such a stupid culture name, but I love it. But also Highlander. Wish there was more created cultures. Oh yeah, yep. Norse Gale does speak. Yeah. Current language. Yeah. Okay. No, but they have such trash resources on the Isles. It's all fish, with the wall being the best one. And there's no precious metals at all in Scotland. Come on. There's like none in the British Isles at all, really, is there? There's some silver in Cornwall, which is like, fuck. You gotta get that off of England. Look how if you colonize, you'll have randomly Mexican. So that's the thing, Rye, is that theoretically that does happen. It's a big theoretically, because there is a button where if you're a country that's not the main country of a culture, so like if you are a colonial nation if you're a colonial nation of Britain, then you'll be an English cultured country, but you're not the main English culture country. You're able to use a cabinet action to create a new culture. So yeah, as a result of that, if a colony existed, like Nova Scotia popped out, then that colony could create the culture of Nova Scotian. But the AI never does it, apparently, seemingly, which is sad. Yeah, the choices of okay. So your characters, this is something I haven't seen in a bit, because this is something that's been very important, but I always forgot like actually what the stats were precisely. But it's very important because the actual stats of your army rulers, your army leaders, is very impactful on the stats of your units, because you get diplomatic ability of 49, so it's basically just right in the middle. You have a completely average character, and these are all the bonuses it's giving to the unit. So you can only imagine the difference between someone with 100 diplomacy versus someone with 0. You would have your 0 modification to army morale as opposed to 20%. Same with initiative, you'd have no extra initiative versus 100%. So you could have a fantastic army, but it would get rolled if you have a terrible leader commanding it, because they would have no initiative and no morale. So the enemy army that has a good general would get into the battle really quick, and just as a result of that, you don't have any units engaged, but they do. So they would just destroy your morale and instantly break you because you have none. And then frontage is also fantastic because you get the amount of units, the amount of troops you can have engaged at a time. Correct section chance is funny. I'd never seen that before, but that implies that units can sometimes move to different sections of the battlefield from what you want them to be in. And then, of course, military ability itself for the army's movement speed, discipline, and combat speed. So that's just, it's fantastic stuff. It feels a lot more. So the combat system is a lot more involved than EU4's, yeah. But I've heard some people complaining about it, so I'm not sure why. But some people aren't pleased with it. Oh, Your daimyo game is probably going to be a loyalist game where you eat the other daimyo and just stay completely loyal to Japan. Well, I'll have to. I don't remember what all the buildings that you even make as a daimyo are, but that's very interesting. I mean, but if you do that, why wouldn't you want to play, say, the Emperor? Because the two Emperor courts are playable building-based tags. I that sounds interesting to me. But you know, you're talking from the perspective of you just want to play a building-based tag and stay that way. Yeah. There is a fellow who's on my team who really wants to mess around with building-based tags a lot, and it scares me. I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't aim his ambition too high, and then get burnt out as a result of it. But we shall see. Maybe he's even watching this. I doubt it though. Army composition. The army is separated into 4 categories: infantry, cavalry, artillery, and auxiliary. Each of these groups has ups and downs in battle, and the modern era is one of transition. During the late medieval era, the early stage of the game, heavy cavalry is one of the strongest units you can field and can be decisive in battle, but as the game advances, the warfare will slowly transition to more infantry-oriented armies, with artillery support and cavalry dedicated to precise and powerful shocks. Within each of these groups, there are regional, cultural, and technological variants, from English longbows to Ottoman janissaries and Polish winged hussars. They are the feature with the most potential in my eyes. So many things you could do. Yes, Rasak, it's a fantastic concept. I just really hope the execution is as good as we all want it to be. We all want it to be something where it actually is really fun to play, and you can sit down in a game and play as a building-based country. Be like, yeah, I'm having fun playing this. I'm going to play this for hundreds of years in game. Yeah. Or real life, hundreds of years in real life. Because every time that you want to, anyone who plays multiplayer games with the boys, you've always got the one. There's always the one guy who just wants to chill in the corner someplace. So you've got stuff like Greenland for that person who just wants to sit there and build up in some stupid out of the way place, which is hilarious. But the idea of banking countries is even more that, where you're just sitting around as a bank, lending money, making snacks. But yeah, longbows are a funny unit. I like. Hunters? What? Is that like levied archers? Or what? No. Oh, it's a gun. It's a gun unit. Okay. It's a late game gun unit, yeah. The English longbowman is a unique levy only available to England. These levies have incredibly high initiative, allowing them to enter the battlefield quickly compared to other levies. The size of regiments will also vary throughout the game, with early versions of your regiments usually fielding around 100 men, but with later tech and reforms, some regiments can go up to 3,000 men, drastically upping the size of warfare. Though that's curious to me because that means but they say the English longbowmen. What about the Welsh? Do the Welsh not get longbows? All my homies love the Welsh. Posts a message about wanting to play a bank, immediately deletes it. What is this? Oh, want to play as a bank, but in multiplayer I feel like that would be a disaster and you'd only live by the grace of other players. Perhaps. But at the same time, you're beneficial to keep around, theoretically. I would assume that you'd be useful to have around for being able to hand out loans. I see it as you fighting wars for the right to build in settled nations or to defend your buildings, so you can spread and fight without eating tags. Yeah, I do think, and in multiplayer it'd be very difficult though, yeah, because well, you don't have your army. You've got to recruit mercs. So you're going to really struggle as the game goes on when professional armies get larger and larger. But earlier on, you'd probably be just fine with managing to purchase mercenaries and then throw hands with the settled tags, and then who knows what you can get out of them. And mind you, Lex, if you didn't know, Lex, you are able to subjugate tags as a landless country. If you're playing as a bank or the Hanseatic League or some such thing, you can subjugate people. So you can get some staying power. I see no reason why they can't have manpower buildings either. However, the idea that you're playing a bank with a standing army sounds a little odd. I would I would get it if you're a bank and you get a standing army as the game goes on, but early game would be weird. That'd be kind of weird. Um, Now the ultimate building-based countries in general. Yeah, yeah. So the thing with that, Rasak, is that before they got rid of them, and theoretically once they bring them back, the building-based holy orders were precisely that. They're a building-based country that has manpower because they use their commanderies to get manpower and income from Catholic countries that they build their commanderies inside. So theoretically, in that case, you would be. I mean, they got rid of it, but theoretically, that's a situation where you would be able to have a standing army as a building-based country. But what we don't know is where you'd actually is if you're actually able to build in that tile. I don't remember what the actual stats of the commandery are, or if it says anything about like, enables building, units, like can recruit regiment. Maybe this is the sort of thing that mods can change because I personally would really like to have that sort of thing existing at Game Start. Because a big one for me is in my mod. There's going to be a couple magic schools that are landless. They just own buildings throughout the Holy Roman Empire, so and beyond in some cases. And as a result, I'd like those people to be able to build I'd like them to have their academies that would then also have access to like the ability to make manpower buildings they could field professional mage troops, quote unquote, which would make them very useful to have as an ally or fear to have as an enemy. Hunters. Hunters are an Age of Absolutism unit unlocked by siege artillery, requiring 1,600 manpower for one regiment. But to accompany so many men, you'll have to rely on auxiliary regiments, which is your army support structure. For example, early in the game, the camp followers will increase your army food storage, allowing your troops to go deeper into enemy territories without a direct supply line. So that's useful. They have combat stats, which is very funny. They do technically fight. A motley crew of merchants and families of the soldiery. Camp followers provide informal service to warbands on the march. Logistics and food is a big one. This is a big one that it causes lots of confusion. The ability to build units is already tied to buildings. I see no problem. Yeah, okay. The reason that I see the potential problem with it, Rasak, is that you don't own the tile that it's in, Because we see, buildings, yeah, as you're saying, it's like armory, sergeantry can recruit regiments. That makes sense. So theoretically, you could have a building-based country that, there's got to be some way. Holy Orders Eu5. There's got to be some place where we can see where is the I want to see what the commandery building is. U5. military orders. Military order, order headquarters. Order headquarters can recruit regiments here, if in the capital. Monthly manpower. Order stronghold. Order commandery. So order commandery gives manpower to owner, gold to owner. It does not say anything about can recruit regiments here. So the Hansa can build. Oh. The Hansa can build ships in their vassals. Oh. Huh. That is interesting then. Okay. There's got to be a way you can do that then. It's just that yeah, I worry that if you give a building the ability the can recruit regiments here tag flag, I worry that what that will do is not apply it to you, the person who owns the building, but instead will apply it to the owner of the tile, because you look at the order commandery and it says manpower to owner, gold to owner, for example. So I don't know, but you are right. I did forget about that. And yes, the camp followers only challenge. Gotta make some really trash. There's gotta be some really trash unit that we make in the mod as well. That's just terrible. But you could do a only run of that. I doubt that would work though. It'd be funny to think about though. It's just a building ability. Hands to do it with their shipyards. I guess if that's the case, then that should work out well. Then you can theoretically have a building-based country that has a standing army, because that's the key. Want to be a building-based country that has a standing army. All right. Logistics and food. In an effort to create a credible warfare system, moving your armies around will depend on supply lines and access to resources. Armies will carry food, but will ultimately need to gather it from a friendly location. This is represented by a line linking your army to the closest friendly location, but this line can only be stretched so far, and can quickly become vulnerable to enemy armies. Amateurs talk tactics, professionals study logistics. They're dealing with North Scandinavia. Once supply is low, the army will suffer attrition and losses, forcing retreat, Placing supply depots and controlling key locations, key provinces, will be key to an efficient campaign. Placing supply depots, that's the EU4 thing, but we haven't seen how you do that here, I don't think. You also have to take into consideration the weather and diseases. The map, the terrain, and natural elements are also your enemies during wartime. Winter will reduce food production and raise attrition, but can also freeze coastal sea, allowing risky crossings and sometimes stranding fleets. Severe winters can also make some mountain passes impassable. Finally, disease can be caught by an army and spread to the location it occupies, adding civilian losses to the military ones. I do love the whole freezing over of ocean tiles. I really want to play around with that. Frozen over waters can be traversed, but be careful! Your army will face severe attrition on these tiles, and once the ice thaws, the army could end up on the bottom of the sea. Battles. Once your army is built, your logistics ready, and your campaign planned, it is time to fight. Once on the battlefield, the battle will open with artillery fire, making hell fall on the poor souls you've sent to die for your dreams of grandeur. Perfectly reasonable reasons, of course. After that, the main combat starts. Engaged regiments will fight according to the 3 positions, left, center, and right flanks, respectively. Each unit will fight until opponents are eliminated or lose morale, and then proceed to attack the closest next regiment. Yeah, so they do, yeah. The flanks will collapse in and attack the center. Is there a way we can see that? No, we just see the armies in the artillery phase. Yeah, that's a really good general. Look to my coming. On the first light of the 5th day at dawn, look to the east. This is Gandalf, yes. If a regiment retreats, it's replaced by another one in reserve. But a time will come when one side has no more troops to send against the enemy. And it's at this moment that the army morale is hit, and can lead to a collapse of one of the flanks, or even the center of the army. So there's a difference between the army morale and the unit's morale? So the units will break. Then there's the army's morale is total? That's curious if so. The situation can be devastating on the rest of the army, allowing flanking maneuvers and usually making defeat inevitable. Once the left flank crumbles, the center follows, and the losses are terrible. Naval warfare. It follows the same rules more or less as the land warfare, of course. Pops demand the ships are sailors. You will need to build specific buildings to field more ships and have more sailors. And having a standing fleet is necessary to provide food supports to each of your armies across your global empire. Fleets will also allow you to blockade cities and cripple your enemy's trade, a crucial tool to have in times of war. Oh! Jeez. Hello, Lambert. Fancy seeing you here. I'm just discussing the warfare. Dev diary. I know that most of this was talked about already in the Tinto talks, but yeah, I always like to refresh what information they reiterate here, and sometimes there's little bits and bobs of information that wasn't discussed in the Tinto talks, like the specifics of the way. You have no idea how this works. Yes, I know. Well, alright. So, one thing, for example, that I did not know about was up, like, very early on. There was the way that levies actually work, because I hadn't seen anyone in their after-action reports or such things talk about what happens to the pops precisely. Everyone knew that when you raise levies, casualties to the levies affect your pops. But what we didn't know explicitly, I mean, you knew, you played the game, but no one was explicitly talking about the fact that when you raise the levies, it explicitly immediately takes pops. I was under the misconception, for example, that when you raise levies, you raise the troops, and then those troops will be tied to a pop. And when the troops die, then it causes casualties. I did not expect it to actually be that you immediately raise these levies and you get 2,000 pops just removed from Pays de France. And that sort of thing did not expect to have happen. But most of the rest of this is just reiterating stuff I'd already discussed in previous videos, though. Welcome back, Rye. Pleasure to see you again, yes. Greetings, AIM, as well. Yeah, if I'm at war and I raise levies, my top bar says, like, minus 66,000. So, like, when you hover over your top bar population, it will say, like, minus this much because, minus this much of, like, whatever because of the, does it specify? So that, like, when you hover over it, you can tell how many people you'll get back? Oh. That's not as important, though, I suppose. It's the thing that I'm very much imagining then is that when it comes to people actually playing multiplayer, when it's your top bar, you see your population. Got Wales open, yeah. Yeah, Wales, yeah. Oh, look at you! Look at this guy playing the game. Oh, wish I could be doing that. Top screen says 3.58 mil, and then under that number in green plus. Well, yeah, because the population growth. You go to war, raise your levies. The green one cable change to a red. Oh, okay, so it'll just say like, yeah, you lost that many. It's not like there's anywhere in the UI that's saying like this many raised in levies that you just like have. So it's not like keeping track of it there for you. You'll just have to know that I've got this many levies raised. So when I lower them again, if they survive, you'll get this many back. Yeah, your pops immediately get disappeared, and then they immediately go back. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There was a conversation earlier in this stream where people were we were speculating about like what happens because it was like you get like 2,000 at the start of the game, like levies in that example from Pays de France, which I assume is Paris's area. The thing that's being imagined then is like what happens if you lose the war but you still have the levies raised, because that's the funny situation then where you theoretically have these levies raised, you lower them then, and then if you've lost the land, they theoretically just go back home to this other person's land now. So, oh, this is the last section already. The naval warfare is just a little blurb. Yeah, blockading cities, transporting food. But one question then one question for sure, if this is running out of stuff here. One question you probably would know the answer to, though, is auxiliaries, because they brought this up, and I always bloody forget that auxiliary units even exist, and I wonder if you do too, because you have the game in your hands, you can play it. Do you ever use the... Oh, wait, the wrong side. Do you ever use these things? These camp followers and such? Because they're kind of useless. What do you mean? How could they be useless? The game, they show someone using them in the dev diary. Obviously, that means they're useful. 300 hours in the game and not using them once. Oh goodness, that's not a good sign. Because 300 hours, yeah, it stacks up quick. There was all that drama when the game was like, when people were first announcing that they'd played the game, and it's like, how did you play 100 hours already? That doesn't make sense, but it's like, I mean, now it's been a while. Yeah. Welcome back, RCM. Welcome back. We need EU5 now. Calm down. I will not have a riot here, Fry Pie. Yeah. I think they'll be useful when you can ignore fort zone of control. Oh! Yeah, because when you can do the funny Napoleon thing and just walk past forts, if you bring enough supplies with you, you could do some alpha strike on someone's... Like, you could just, like, drop a bunch of troops with supplies, like, from boats, and then march inland to a strategic objective, depending on what the war is. I don't know. I don't know an example of that. Like, maybe France. I don't know. Maybe you're England and you want to just drop on Normandy. Funny, do a Age of Revolutions D-Day, land on Normandy, and then just sprint to Paris to siege it down quick. What am I, the AI? Yeah, is it the AI? It's just gonna land in Normandy and rush to your capital? Yeah. Build a fort. Oh no, him. Build a fort in every front. Yeah, right. Pie. Build a fort everywhere. I mean, yeah. Until they change the fact that you can just build them everywhere, or that you can just turn off the maintenance. I'm sure that's gonna just keep happening for a while. Yeah. But with that's all of this one. Yeah, and there's not much to say in the comments of this one. So theoretically, could talk about the Tinto flavor for the Netherlands though. Got an update yesterday. Minimum on forts and navies and armies now 50%. That's good. That's good. Definitely think it's weird that you can only. I definitely think it's very weird that you can only you could just completely get rid of payment for your professional armies. Yeah, seen lots of people, yourself included, talk about how strange that is that your professional armies function like levies. And it's like, well, if these are professional troops, why can't I just stop paying for them? Isn't that the whole point, that they're professional troops? They don't have it. This is their day job, so what do they do if I just don't pay them? Probably going to have only forts on borders or cities. Well, that's the thing, Bri. If you only build them on borders with your enemies and such, if you ever have a revolution, like if people or well, okay, actually, then again, if you don't have forts in the inside, then a revolt inland will be easy to clean up. I don't know. The army now costs 67 a month. Uh, gosh. No, you coming here to hang out in my stream. I now feel bad because I was at work the other day while you were live. I was at work the other day while you were live with your thing about Wales, where you actually conquered basically the entire rest of the British Isles. And I was like, I wasn't there because I was like, oh no, I gotta just like pop in and say at least something, but I didn't. No, I'm a bad guy. I didn't do that. Need Celtica. Exactly. That's what you're gonna do, right? Lambert's gonna have the end goal of forming Celtica as Wales, right? I should really. Oh, it's not formable for Wales? Because they're Brythonic. I guess it's because they're Brythonic. Because Celtica exists somewhere. It might also be like you say you can see it. It might be. It might be that you can't see it because maybe you did some rules. Because there's a rule for it. Because it's an implausible, like it's a non-historic implausible formula. It's like an alt history thing. So it might just not be in there because of that. And it also might be because you're Brythonic instead of like I don't know. Maybe you need to play as Ireland or Scotland, and the Brythonics can't do it. But I don't know. Oh fuck! You're looking at your yeah. You check the rules. Yeah. Damn. Only plausible. This is cringe. Well, yeah. The Brythonics are Celts, but I don't know. The game might have been cringe and been like, actually, no, Celtica. Celtica is just for like Brittany and Ireland or something. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. I imagine yeah, the rules thing being broken, you'd be scared to mess around with that too much. Wales game. The Romans are called Byzantium. Oh, what a terrible thing! The Romans being called Byzantium. Well, I'm sure you love the fact. Wait, actually, are you aware? Are you aware that in CK3 you can you can set a rule in CK3 to make the Byzantines called the Unholy Roman Empire? Because you can do that. Yes, you okay. Oh yeah. Wait, Welsh is in the English group? No, I doubt that. I doubt it's in the English group, but not. Yeah, broken isn't completely non-functional. Oh, I do. Yeah, I'd call it Basileaton Romaion. That is the most appropriate in my opinion because it's both. It's not just Roman Empire, but it's instead Kingdom of Rome basically in Greek because that sounds appropriate to me. Well, yeah, they're not static. Well, okay, you're saying they're not static, but they're Empire of the Romans. Okay, I thought that Basileus was king, but they're probably synonyms really in Greece. Whatever. But culture groups, you say they're static. They're not static, but like it's not like they change, right? Because I mean yeah, the Welsh can be in both the British and Celtic because they have the British heritage for being on the island of Great Britain, and then the Celtic group for being, they're Celtic, but they can't like gain a new one. They can't like spend enough time in France and become French heritage or something. Yeah, because I'm sure if you're still in game now, you'll probably see they mentioned earlier. I don't know if you'd remember it, but they mentioned a long time ago that theoretically the culture that has the most cultural heritages is Norse Gale. So theoretically, that should still exist and be near you if you can find it and look at it. It should have like because it's got British, Celtic, Scandinavian, and maybe a fourth one, but it's got at least three. I think it. And as you're saying, the unified culture group thing, the unified culture group thing, yeah, I've heard people just saying that they never use it. Yeah. You have 3 Norse Gales in your country. No, how could you do this? You're getting rid of them all. No. I was genuinely, before you showed up, saying to people how I wish that like I had the confidence in my ability to play like the Isles when the game comes out, because I'd love to convert the British Isles to Norse Gale culture. But with you having that much of a time with Wales, it's like nah, not after that many hours. You're having trouble with Wales. Like I gotta play something like Aragon, Celtic, Scottish, British, and Scandinavian. That's 4. Wars in combat, more like cars and wombat. Yeah, that's a typical opening line from Hot Pocket. But I'm afraid to say, Hot Pocket, we finished the Warfare dev diary, and at this point, I'm just kind of staring at the Tinto flavor for the Netherlands while yapping with Lambert. Joffrey called the Romans the bad word a bit ago. No. The bad word. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure what specific word the bad one is. Is the bad word Greek? Oh, Byzantines. Oh, Byzantines. Yeah, I do that. I do call them the bad word. It's a fun word. Byzantium is a fun word to say. And also, that's what they're called in Civilization 6. So, that's all that matters to me. Go put on the shame cone. I don't have a shame cone. I've got my flat cap. I got the green flat cap, which goes well with my red turtleneck. But, you know, Civ is bad. Not 6. 6 is good. Civ 6 is good. I haven't played in a long time though. Not so Roman Empire. That's the best. Yeah. They should add that as a rule for it. The not so Roman Empire. God damn it. You like pick 3 of my tastes in games is discarded. It's fun though. I keep trying to make the kobolds work in Vic 3, but then I will try to rush to skirmish infantry, and then I'll get attacked by the Grombar allying with Amaldir, and it's very cringe. Vic 3 is not evil. How dare you? But with you talking down to it, yeah. I was thinking about playing more Vic 3 and Benar later today, but instead I guess I'll paint my map. I'll just paint my map in Discord. You have an aborbed opinion. Well, okay. Jeff? Okay, well you wouldn't be the first person to just call me Jeff, because it's funny, yeah. Going broke every time, then having to defend against the Brits. Well, okay. Vicky 3 Vanilla's rough because of the Brits, but yeah. You simply need to be like actually good at the game, which I'm not, to beat them. Oh dear. And to say absorbed, I don't know. Aborbed opinion sounds kind of funny to me. Gosh, I'm staring at the Tinto flavor for the Netherlands. It's like, oh my goodness, do I have the will to do this now? This has been an hour and 10-minute stream already. Oh dear. What country in EU5 is the most interested in playing then? Okay. Well, that question is the reason that I've had this tab open. I've had this tab open because, yeah, I've been very heavily considering it, and people always ask me. Yeah, people keep, yeah, we discuss things like Lithuania because you get the pagans, that's fun. Paid actor. Yeah, someone in my chat paid you to come here and to force me to talk about what country I want to play. Now, if anyone's funded by Paradox, it's Habibi, because that dude's the community, the coordinator or something. England's climbing higher on my list after I saw some flags earlier today. Oh, did they change? They gave it some more options for flags. I do like that. He is actually employed. Oh, okay. It's not even just like a titular title. He's like actually employed by them, and that's why he was doing the dev diary. That's crazy. Well, good for him. He's a fun dude. But you get things like Lithuania is neat because, you know, for one, Lithuania is neat because of the paganism. But the problem with that, problem with playing Lithuania is that my family is from Kiev. My family's from, you know, Ukraine and North Germany. So I was like, well, why would I play Lithuania then? Because Kiev is here. It's on the map in EU5 on like 4. So in that case, I just play Kiev and defeat the Mongols and all that. Other than that, Morocco is a big one for me because it's just a little bit outside of Europe, but apparently they've got lots of content to unite North Africa. So. Other such rare words of that nature that learned from growing up in the Albertan Ukrainian community is things such as we call the Polish Canadians Polacks. Sorry to any of I've got a couple Polish friends. When they see this, sorry, Drac, I had to say it for science. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 1/8 Polish. He's very insulted. No. No. Oh, I'm gonna be thrown off thrown off the platform. Yes. You will be granted 1/8 offense. Yes. But Morocco is a country I put very high on my list. Also, by the way, Lambert, you should, I think, have in my server. Yes, you've got the illustrious neat folk role, which I think. Oh no, that means you can't get. You don't have access to the podcast room. I forgot. There's a difference between the stream corner and the zone. I just assumed that I had given access to that, but no. I'll have to add you to the list of people that can see my podcast room in case you're ever online when I'm streaming and want to pop in. Lord Lambert and add view and can connect. So here you go. I have the neat. Yes. You joined 3 days ago. You're right. You're so neat, Rai-Fi. You should have the role immediately. Yes. There's some people that have been in the server for a very long time but aren't active enough to get it. It's very, very sad. The Newt folk. No. You see, it goes from we have fun people, then from the fun people you get neat folks, and then from neat folks you go to real one, and it's based on how long people are in the server and the activity, that sort of thing. Want a custom role, not the muffin dwarf. You could, if you work on the mod when EU5 comes out, you work on the mod and you make the muffin dwarves, you'd get a role like that in the mod server. I'll say that, Rai-Fi. Yes. It is a caste system, yes, of course. Yaptivity. Yes. But Morocco, North Africa sounds like it could be fun. They've got content supposedly to unite the region, so that's kind of neat. But there's also the Anatolia / Balkan Thunderdome. That sort of thing is very interesting to me, because you get like the knights. The knights would be really difficult, but part of me really wants to make that work. Of course, everyone wants to play the Byzantines. You know, that's pretty. No, I said the word. No, I said the bad word. Everyone wants to play the Eastern Romans. I'll give them that. You don't want to play there in MP? Yeah, that doesn't sound like it would be a good time. The Thunderdome there would be just terrifying indeed. Uh, like Hungary though would be really good. Hungary, I'm sure, would be very strong. They look so big. They're probably good, except for they've got lots of cultural division, but I'm sure they're good. But like I don't know, playing someone who is like you've got some heretics and then just like instantly converting to like Cathar or something is also something that I have as a very cringe idea. For the England flags, Great Britain flag, but on the Scottish blue. French fleur-de-lis. Oh gosh, what causes the French fleur-de-lis? Is that like if you're French culture somehow? You got to get like Anglois. You get Anglois from winning the Hundred Years' War or something. I'm guessing there's got to be some unique flag for that, maybe. But yeah, right. Yeah, doing something like Cathar or Waldensian, some early game heresy sounds like it could be neat to me. If you vassalize Brittany, then the Breton flag. The Breton flag has the red border with the English lines on it. Huh. This is it's a lot more. So it's more precise than just the It's more precise than just like a canton system where it adds flags to someone based on like dynamic, like if you're a vassal of this guy, you just get the canton. But like you're saying, like, wait, 75 different American flags. You don't mean for the tagged United States, right? You can't be serious that the United States, America has 75 different flags. No way. Okay. Like, what is it based on? Like how many states you own? They did the Vicky. Okay. Yeah. All the different stars count. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. England seems too easy. Probably gonna. Yeah. That's the thing. I am a masochist, so I need to play the difficult starts. I think it'll basically be a case of me like day one. It'll be like the first few playthroughs of the game, I'd be able to stomach myself playing someone like Castile. But any other time in single player, I would just never play like Castile or France because they're just way too powerful for me. I wouldn't want to. I think my first MP, the Papal States in a first multiplayer game. This has to be because like the Pope is secretly incredibly wealthy from all the Catholics. It's got to be like you because I know that there's some way that he gets taxes. So yeah, okay, he gets ludicrous amounts of money. Yeah, okay, so that's why you play the Pope and you just like tons of mercenaries. You just do absolute loads of mercenaries and build yourself up. Yeah, I can see it. You can't really zoom in much on this map. That's the problem. RCM. The only way I can show the HRE is by going to Tinto Maps Germany feedback. See, Lambert doesn't do this. He just plays the game. So whenever he wants to look at the map, he just goes open game and look. But I have to go all the way back to February 17th and look at the map then. Look at this. No, stop. Look at special map and look at dev comments. Special map, dev comments. Pavia, second region. I looked at this before. What's the thing? Pavia. Oh. Here's a more zoomed in image of current. Yeah, much better. Thank you, yes. I always forget that Baliol has the Isles as a subject, yes. But playing someone like, oh god, why is Frisia that blue? Why is Frisia that blue? That just looks so wrong. Why isn't this light blue? Oh, blue. Yeah, exactly. Because they're free. Yeah, it's the Frisian freedom. They gotta be blue for America. Fuck yeah. Coming to save the motherfucking day. But someone in Central, I mean, okay, the masochist playthrough, like I'm saying, the masochist in me wants to play Arborea. You gotta find a way to play Arborea and then like get people to ally you and take down Aragon, of course. Uh, I gotta do it. Do Wales. Oh, that's even worse. You fixed Wales for me. Thank you so much. You fixed Wales for me. All right. GG. The only thing, okay, but the problem, all right, the only problem with Wales and just like Britain in general then is the fact that so when you form Great Britain, the flag you get because they showed us what you get when you form Great Britain as like a Celt, and it's like the exact same flag except like one of the stripes is black. I'm like, why? Why? First campaign Wales, it's on my list for sure. I would consider doing that. Mind you, yeah. I don't know. Like I also there's the risk. The first campaign I do might also be a multiplayer game is the thing because there's a lot of folks in the Triple J server that are gonna want to play multiplayer and try it out right away. It's just like, would I really want to immediately thrust myself into trying to play Wales in a multiplayer game? Ugh. Not gonna form Prydain. Yeah. This looks like fun. Can I be in the game? Yeah, if it didn't do, yeah, if you get the game, yeah. I mean, you were saying you might not get the game on release. I thought. No, that was someone else. No, yeah. I mean, if we manage to get a multiplayer game working, yeah, of course you could be in it. Just need to see if the game actually functions. Hmm. Yeah, right. But you should get the game through Lambert's affiliate link. He wants his Steam his Steam points. Oh yeah, it was RCM that yeah you can get the game with your current computer specs. Yeah. Oh my god, Austria is so much worse. Oh, that's so gross. Oh, Austria is the last country I'm going to be playing in EU4. I'm playing in a multiplayer game of we've got this finale EU4 wrap up game basically where we've got all majors. We got me as Austria. We got a France, Castile, England, even a Portugal, the Muscovy, PLC. We had a Turks, but the Turks got demolished. Very sad. A bunch of us doing that. I'm playing as Austria there. It's like, damn. When EU5 comes out, there's not really going to be as many people who are playing Austria. It's going to be Bohemia instead. Austria is rough because Vienna is in a shit position for a capital or a market cap. Because everyone talks about Bohemia. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, all caps. Bohemia is so strong. Yeah, everyone talks about Bohemia. They're like, Bohemia is good. Bohemia is amazing. Look at how strong Bohemia is. They got all of this, and that. And I can't really blame them because I'm on the Germany map feedback map as is, so that means I can scroll down to the resources and resources, and it's like, well, all right, what do we have here? We got gold, silver, gems. As you have everything you need to just print out a bunch of jewelry. You've even got pearls for some reason, inland pearls. You can mix and match your jewelry with whether you want your jewelry to be made with gold, silver, pearls. You can make your silver and pearl necklaces and then your gold and gem necklaces. That sounds perfect. It's wonderful. So much fucking gold and silver. Bohemia was the second country I never played in EU4 because I'm a massive Queen fan and Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my gosh. It's a pearl necklace. You can make pearls. Pearl jewelry. What's wrong with that? Also, was there inland fish province? Clearly. Yeah, I see the inland fish provinces. But clearly, if you're looking at these inland fish provinces and you're thinking that's weird.
Oh, we're part of time.
Oh, goodness.
Can we cut the cameras? So
Oh my goodness. Oh, the camera. There we go. Turn off the camera.
Let's cut.
If you're thinking that inland fish is weird. Oh no, this is not the feedback one. Enzo talks Scandinavia. Scandinavia feedback. This one has like 4 different inland fish tiles in Finland. Come on, load faster. Look at all this. Look at all this fish. Not if I say so. Yeah, I mean, when the intercontinental trade thing happens, you could replace it, I guess. Oh yeah. You haven't gotten far enough in your Wales game. After Canada, Finland is the most amount of fish in the world. Yeah. What can I say? Newfoundland exists. Grand Banks fisheries are there for a reason in the U4. Gang. Oh, lakes. Aww. Canada's still got a lot of fish. We've got lots of fish. But what I was gonna say, you haven't yet gotten in your Wales game to the intercontinental trade thing. I forget what that situation's called, but the situation that happens where you can like swap out trade goods. So I'm curious because you haven't gotten there, but so okay, you stole a save game to do the Colombian exchange. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the Colombian exchange? Because I can imagine, the Potato Island pic. Yeah. I do remember that picture where you just turned the whole thing into potatoes. Yes, of course. Like, I feel at Scandinavia, for example, you would be so desperate for that because your resources here are absolute garbage. You have nothing useful here in almost the entirety of Scandinavia. But at the same time, I don't know what you're like. Are you even going to be able to replace anything here with new resources? Like, 100 ducats, 5 prestige. It's fine, I guess. But you can move New World to New World 2. So turning all of the Caribbean into sugar and cocoa. Yeah, that does sound fun. I mean, turn it off again. No,
I cannot be seen.
Lumber is a great. Okay, well, okay. Turning it back one. Yes. There's lots and lots and lots of lumber, but wild game, everyone supposedly thinks that wild game is just terrible, but I assume you can at least use it for some stuff like leather. But I mean, you got so much fur here. I don't know why you'd want to prioritize it. So yeah. Well, there's always got to be at least something that's kind of meh, like fruit. From what I remember hearing earlier, that like you get like fruit and sturdy grains, which are just resources that are kind of like sturdy grains, fiber crop. No, fiber crops has uses, but you get like sturdy grains, which is just really like, why would you want legumes or sturdy grains? They're just worse at doing the same thing like wheat does. So yeah. Oh, there's actually some fruit up here. Jeez. Do we want to start talking about Holland now? Or do we save that for another day? Because this has now become a 2-hour long, this has been a 2-hour long stream. Don't know whether or not Okay. Another day. That's probably for the best. People are starting to dip out as we're going on yaps with Lambert about various aspects of the game. Missions, tanning workshops, apothecary, forest village, settlement, tanning. Oh my gosh. I'll use wild game. That's a suspiciously fast answer. That's a very suspiciously fast answer. Does that implies to me that there's some way that you can hover over the good, like in Vic, and just see everything that uses it? Is that true? You can just like hover over a good. Oh, oh, oh! That's the ticket right there. Yes. Okay. You can hover over the resource and just see all the things that use it. Hmm. Hmm. That's very nice. I like that. Okay, missions is not what. Yeah, that's not what he means by missions. When he says missions, he means like a missionary building in the New World. Um, yeah. Missions the building. Yeah, exactly. Missions the building, not the like click to earn a prize thing. Yeah. Lambert can answer the question, of course, better than me. But what I've seen from people is that the missions that exist for the like follow a mission tree, click button. Yeah, exactly. Very tutorial. In fact, I think someone said, I think it was Playmaker that said that the missions are even turned off by default because they're really just tutorials, and that they also give some like kind of overpowered bonuses. Basically, tells you what to do for like setting a cabinet up or something. Yeah, and it does sound like it would be very useful for your first time playing the game. I can definitely imagine wanting to have something like that where you're like, yeah. They're turned on by default. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. They do sound kind of like the default missions from EU4, but the with the caveat that EU4's default missions don't really have much variety because like there's not much to do in EU4. Biggest use is the bonus they give you a mad society push. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, and as you're saying, Lambert, they won't yet, at least. But because like Johan has made his opinion very clear multiple times that he does not intend for there to be any. Um, he doesn't intend for there to be custom mission trees for specific people. But that doesn't mean that he might fold from pressure. I don't want him to. Yeah, exactly. Money talks. He might fold from pressure. I don't want him to. I do not want him to because I do not like EU4 missions, and when it comes to my own plans for my mod project, I don't plan on doing them either. There's some people on my team that like missions and they're sad by that, but I want to focus on situations and disasters and dynamic events, that sort of thing. I want to make that the focus. For variety of potential outcomes as opposed to hyperfixating on a specific thing you need to do. You're very glad they're in because you like the Ambinar missions. Yeah, and I like the Ambinar missions too. I do enjoy the Ambinar missions. The catch with that is because the rigidity is what I don't like about missions. And Anbanar has fantastic missions. I love playing Anbanar and doing the mission trees. However, they struggle in multiplayer. Mission trees barely work in multiplayer. There's some people that can just do the mission trees, and there's other people that can't really. Or there's things that just, the fact that you're in a multiplayer setting just messes stuff up vibe-wise. That means that you can't really do it, or it's really problematic for you to accomplish your mission objective. And yes, their missions are extremely rigid in Anbanar, and that is the case of In multiplayer, I can't really make use of them, and that makes me sad, because when you're playing multiplayer Anbanar, most of that mission tree flavor stuff kind of just get pushed to the side. And that makes it sad. And the other thing is when I'm playing single player Anbanar, I don't really feel like I can play. Yeah, the branching missions are good. There's only so many mission trees in Anbanar that are like make a choice down a branch, because it was only later in the game in the EU4's development that they started doing branching missions. The Teutons are really cool for that reason as well. Yes. It's a difficult subject, and if don't want to get we're risking getting really derailed talking about that, but at the end of the day, this is the wrap up of the stream, I suppose. We're drawing it to a close, so there's no harm in yapping about mission trees. For my part, I am glad that Anbanar exists and that there are people passionately working on that style of content. I myself cater to a different audience and plan to make my own mod focus on something else. I don't plan to make such long mission trees and that sort of thing, because I personally do not prefer them. I like them, but I don't prefer them. I prefer other things. And is not the world better when you have more options for different sorts of things? I think unless they are all difficult, the bonuses should be temporary. Your game crashed. Uh-oh. I'm taking notes. Lambert leaks EU5 unstable. EU5 is unstable confirmed. Screenshot. Lambert confirms that EU5 is unstable. Doesn't even run. Crashes when you try to launch it. This is terrible. New Joffrey video. You'll see it by the end. By the end of the day. Oh well, actually, in Finland, it is the end of the day. Never mind. It's already the end of the day for you. Yeah. Breaking news. And it's just me doing the soy jack. I'll use my soy jack emote on the thumbnail. Be like, Lambert confirms EU5 unplayable mess should be delayed for years. It crashed. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. for you. Yeah, it's almost a full almost a full 12 hours ahead of Western Canada. Wild. Alright. Well, should probably though be bringing this to a close. I'm not sure because I don't. Oh yeah, I forgot. You can see the NVIDIA driver. Should probably be wrapping this one up. Talk about the flavor for the Netherlands another time. But proud AMD AMD versus NVIDIA, greatest rivalry. With that, I think I'm going to leave this one here. Maybe I'll play Vicky and Bernard later, but realistically, I gotta work on my map. I think that's gotta be my focus today. Glad you caught it and stopped by as well, Lambert. It's always a pleasure to chat. So, but thank you all for watching. Yeah, you gotta go play EU5 now. God damn it! This guy. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.